Hello everyone, welcome to the class of Artificial Intelligence in the Graduate School. Uh, Let me start my first recording with you and starting with this class, I'd like to introduce myself and I will do how I can deliver my lectures. Before I starting with this, actually I would like to say about our platform. Uh, So you have already witnessed a few platforms like class through the which is called UClass in our university. This is our homepage of our UClass. You may see. In this announcement, I have already given you some record, so you have already reviewed my uh, ideas. I have mentioned that. So there I have already mentioned about this. We are going to deliver all the matters in the uh, band, Naver Bands platform. So we can share our ideas in this web page or band SNS. So we are going to cooperate or interact between you and myself, how we can keep on our classes through this band or AU classes here. So maybe you will see on the next time you can see materials which been appeared in each classes according to the um, weekly classes until we are going to deliver our lectures in the offline in the physical classroom. So, so here I'd like to say about my classes. So this is an introduction of our textbooks information. You may see this material which is called artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. Sorry. Professor Stuart Russell and Porter Novick's textbook, which is entitled Artificial Intelligence, a Modern Approach, with the third edition. This is also provided by on PDF style, so I have uploaded our uh, server classes class, and also so few Korean students are going to use this material, which is entitled 인공지능, Artificial Intelligence in Korean, that has been delivered by Professor Lee Keum-myung from Chungbuk National University. So anyway, you are going to use these main textbooks, Artificial Intelligence, a Modern Approach. So this is the textbook. So it is quite long, very thick volumes of the textbooks. So maybe we will see the contents here. The first part, contents. The first part is an artificial intelligence with an introduction and intelligent agent. And part two is problem solving, encompassing with solving problems by searching and beyond classical search, and adversarial search, and constraint satisfaction problems. And part three is knowledge, reasoning, and planning. And so some chapters which is entitled Logical Agents, First Order Logic, Inference in First Order Logic or Classical Planning, and Planning and Acting in the Real World, and Knowledge Representation. And part 4 is uncertain knowledge and reasoning, encompassing it, qualifying uncertainty, and probabilistic reasoning over time, and making simple decisions, making complex decisions, and lastly, about learning, learning from examples, knowledge in learning, and learning probabilistic models and reinforcement learning. Part 6 is communicating, perceiving, and acting, natural language processing, natural language for communication and procession, bodies. And finally, conclusions with a philosophical foundation and AI, present and future, and so on as an appendix, so which is incorporated with a mathematical background and also language and algorithms and so on. As you have seen in this content, it covers about more than 1,000 pages. So that means it is a really, really big, thick book. So it is not easy to read thoroughly, but you must have an insight to how to read books, long, thick books. By your preference, you can search in and try to read in the contents. So, and I will also deliver not from this from scratch all of them. You will read starting from the introductions. So you are going to read by yourselves from the materials which will be uploaded our web pages. So, or you can search down from the Google. So it is easier for you to read. Start reading the materials. So now I'd like to say about a brief showcase. Actually, AI is currently it is a very, very hot topic in the whole world. So probably you're also going to be very interested in in this classes. So you may read much of normal articles or newspapers or general books. So probably you have been very acquainted about this AI. But actually, this is one outline about my thoughts in a certain area. So this is very, very brief my introductions. I myself, Professor Kang-Hyun Cho, the faculty dean now of the electrical engineering, and I have working in the IEEE IES, Industrial Electronics Society, as a secretary until the end of the last year. And I have been served in many other societies, in academic societies in Korea or Japan and worldwide. So mostly I have worked on the computer vision research area and also artificial intelligence systems, which is applied to the robotics or autonomous vehicle systems. So mainly that are also very, very hot topic nowadays. So for yourself, nowadays actually we are going to have certain interest which is very related to this era or society nowadays. So as a software engineers or whatever you are looking into your own major field, but even though that is not real software engineering, but software engineering is nowadays very preferable to the society. So, by the way, what is the software engineers? Software engineers, in some sense, we all engineers should be soft-minded, right? And if you are planning something about your work or your research work or your career, then probably you must think about how to design of your working into a process level. So that is a planning for your own work. So probably not only on the software engineers, everybody as an engineer, they must just plan or design your work as a process. And as a software engineer, uh, probably you should do some coding, right? So performing the coding, you can learn many different computer languages. Nowadays, whatever that language itself, you must be familiar with those coding. So probably you have already learned about the C or C++, or some students have been very acquainted with Java or other AI-oriented languages like Python and so on. So whatever which code programming language you have been acquainted with, but anyway you are going to be much more related or practice for yourself to make a code for your own plan. So nowadays, actually, even not only in Korea, in the worldwide, software engineers are on demand actually. So probably even in Korea, we also have very good outstanding companies like Samsung Electronics or LG or SK Telecom. That they are all investigating so much of the work. Not only in those hardware geared companies, like software companies like Naver or DOM, they are also very keen interested to collect or recruit good software engineers. So probably they are much on demand on the market. So some prospect which has been announced by the Korea trade associations, they have provided these informations until 2020. We need more than 46 of 40s outstanding core talents in software engineers. It is not easy to recruit those things. Probably it is a very good chance for you be a uh, to be a good software engineer, to be engaged in software engineering and software industries. Not only in Korea, in US or Japan or China, they are also all very interested in collecting good uh, engineers nowadays. Uh, Maybe some will say the level of each country, how they are well fit to the real market online or executable in the worldwide marketing. So if you are taking account in the level of the United States, probably Korea is until on the level of the 70s. So it is very relevant to increase the level of each software engineer's talent. How do they have it much more actively engaged in the AI field as software engineers? Um, AI in general, we are very familiar with some acoustic or audio intelligence, or some will be interested in the visual intelligence, or some will say the linguistics, language intelligence. But in the future, probably AI, future AI, we are not so sure when is the future actually. In the future, in 1 decade or 2 decades level, probably AI will be increased. The level will be increased so that they are going to be very strong AI. But until now, we are using the AI platforms as a one specific one. But this is one chart I have provided one project which has been incorporated in one establishment of research engineering in Korea as like a COE excellence, I mean Center of Excellence. At that time, I have proposed as a human behavior that is also very important. So I coined myself uh, behavioral intelligence. So probably in behavioral intelligence, we need so many kinds of sensor fusion and analysis technology and uh, human behavior analysis research, and also we have to design the platform for human behavior or behavioral intelligence. So at that time, I have designed with this type. Actually, we need some uh, uh, sources of the sensors. So many kinds of sensors, including images and other audio or uh, inertial sensors or wearable sensors. They are going to be fused with each other, so make it a hybrid. How we can design the problem setting, and then how we can exclude that intention of human. So how we can infer what is the meaning or how they feel, or so we could design that as a human behavior as an intelligence. So we can combine it with different types of the sensors. So that means a hybrid sensors information. So we can apply that idea into the smart home or smart office or management of the patients in clinic, or some security systems or autonomous vehicle systems and so on. And of course, they could be applied to industrial fields like in the factory or in the uh, construction uh, area. So actually, vision intelligence is very important. So vision will be, say, if you see that one image above top area, top image here maybe. So if you have a seen one scene, then you can see, understand very briefly. But in the case of the human intelligence or human behavior, at the time, how we can detect the human in an image, and what actions that he is going to do, that is going to be applied according with the interactions between other materials or other objects. So in this image, once person is approaching to another object, so holding a car, that is pointing. So we can regard he is going to approach to the pointing to collect some water. Or on the other side, he can see there is a one door, so he may go of, out of the room. So we can inject a conjecture in a different way. So that is one type of vision intelligence. So to do that, how we can detect many objects and how we can uh, infer what is going to be action. So according to the top line, we can do some uh, analysis in each step, so we can combine them all together. So uh, we can infer human intelligence, human behavior intelligence. That is things that. And also, when you are thinking about our human being, at the time, we could use collect many sensor data, like wearable or inertial or IMU sensors. So we can combine them. Also, we can connect them together into the local area Wi-Fi or Bluetooth and some other communication platform in protocol. So we can design human behavior, so we can gather sensor informations to combine them together. And, and then how to fuse those sensors. So first, we can collect the sensor data and then analyze according to the timeline what happened, what is a major feature or major factors to describe human behavior. So we can you can devise those into a identify or collecting the information. So how we can use in a different platform to be used in the reality. Sorry. So in sensor fusion's case, there are many types of sensor we could use. So yeah, maybe how we can use those according to the intention to be used for collecting information from images, I mean videos, or some specific portions or in general or whole body. So maybe they are going to be used in a different attributes for security or some other understanding through the local or global area. So they are going to be used. Okay, let's have a break. So uh, in this textbook, actually, what I have mentioned that you are going to start reading from the introductions. As I mentioned, the whole book is quite long, so you have to design how you can set up your idea into a different way. So probably you must design and schedule how much you read the textbook. I mean, I think that is important. Textbook itself is so important. So uh, so you try to read as much as possible. So how you must read, that is also important. What do you read is also important, right? What do you read? What you read. So as I have shown you with this type of textbook, is also very important. And also you must understand what is IEEE, right? So in IEEE, we have so many societies. As I have mentioned before, IES, Industrial Electronic Society, is also very outstanding society where I have served as a secretary until last year. Not only this, computers society, for example, or if you are interested in robotics, then Robotics and Automation Society, ROS, or if you are interested in much more other autonomous vehicle system, then ITS Society, and so on. We have 39 societies actually under this IEEE uh, umbrella. So among that, you can check it out. From our university, you can access to the IEEE Explorer. You can access to this IEEE Explorer. If you access to IEEE Explorer, IEEE.org, then you automatically access to this without paying any payment through our University of Wisconsin e-library system. So you can get into many featured articles and featured authors and so on. They are all going to be delivered by this IEEE Explorer. So as I mentioned, you could search many types of things. For example, CIS, computer collective intelligence systems. So for example, here you can see many many magazines from this ISCS. Each society delivers their own magazines. So in magazines, we could find many featured articles, not this on CIS. For example, here, conference, journals, magazines. So you can see the magazine. You can see many kinds of magazine. So you can read many articles from the magazines. Not only this magazine, of course, as I shown you just before. Many different types of articles, like from the conference proceedings or courses or some books or journals, right? So mainly in IEEE, we have many types of journals. Usually have been used, called as transactions on some specific society or topics. For example, transactions on industrial electronics or transactions on industry informatics, or transactions on pattern analysis and machine intelligence, TPAMI, and so on. We have so many types of magazines or transactions or conference proceeding papers. So you can read so many articles. So what to read is very, very, very important. What you read is very important. So you must you must design what you read, how you read, how much you read. They are going to be designed by yourself. Yeah, of course you may have some other different types of requests. Then you can ask me through our band. You can type in here. And also, I have already mentioned on this type of many things about you. Please write your introduction, self-introduction, and also you must put your faces. These are all no faces, so please show yourself so I can figure out who you are and how I can interact much more smoothly. Okay, so that's important. So I think this is the first classes I will deliver this. So maybe AI fields I have mentioned about two. We should know how much AI fields are covering much. Yeah, AI fields, as we have read about the contents of the textbook, they show many different fields of the AI. So audio signals processing or intelligence, as I mentioned that before, and image or video, visual informations processing and intelligence, and some other different types of sensors like infrared or LiDAR or radar or olfactory sensors, and so many different kinds of sensors we are going to use. So from those sensor data, we can analyze the context or the semantics or the situation analysis or inference or predictions. They are going to be all incorporated in AI field, actually, even though we have not fully incorporated them all in our current AI research yet, but they are going to be cultivated gradually for the future. Actually, from starting with this AI work, then we should do, in some sense, as software engineers or planners. So we must understand what is data, how we can collect some information from the data, and how we can establish the knowledge from the informations. And if we conjecture or infer some wisdoms from the knowledge, they are going to be all included in the information processing that could be used or usable in AI field. So actually the values in the market, if they are going to be much more difficult, then the value itself in the market is going to be much more higher, skyrocketing. So that is normal. And if you have a good product, of course, that is going to be much more expensive, right? In that sense, that is important. So Gartner provided this chart. According to the difficulty, information will be getting much more high hidden information, getting insight or getting have a predictions foresight. So the value in the market is going to be much higher and higher. So how we can make it happen in the future with a high value, that is important in the future, I think. So in that sense, some big data information is also going to be evolved with a much more augmented intelligence as an AI in the future. Then in the market, they are going to be expensive, and also the business intelligence is also going to be much more getting higher level. So according to this timeline, 1990s to 2020 is going to be getting better in the business intelligence and in the market. Actually, we are going to say about the big data. At the time, probably you've also been very interested in what is a big data, or how often you're listening or you heard about the big data. You already get a grasp some information about that, but how much, how big? So nowadays, actually, we are going to say about the era of the big data, right? So at the time, zettabyte means 10 to 21 level of the bytes. Oh, quite big number, right? For example, if you're saying about the mega, that is 10 to 6, right? Giga is 10 to 9. Tera is 10 to 12. So we often say that this is a million, this is a billion, this is a trillion, and so on. So in the monetary level, so billionaire, or trillionaire, that is a very big, rich guy, right? Rich money. On the byte level, megabyte, quite small nowadays. Gigabyte, not bad. What about terabyte? Yeah, terabyte hard disk you may have, so not big. And if you are using the cloud service, it could be cloud or some other OneDrive in Microsoft, you could use terabytes usually. That is normal. But what about the peta or ixa or zeta? Yeah, iota, they are going to be much, much bigger and bigger. Nowadays, we are going to say about our current era is called as zettabytes era. So actually, this is one type of expressions of linear mathematics, right? Linear forms of mathematics. But even our Oriental mathematics history, we also have many different types. 10,000 unit or yeah, in 10,000 that is exponential exponential 4. That means 4 power of 10. So that in that design, we in Korea 1, 10, 100 or 1,000 and 10,000 and 100 1,000. I'm sorry. 10 to 8, 10 to 8, and 10 to 12, and 10 to 16, and 10 to 20, and so on. So that is something like in Occidental field, they are using the three powers of 10, right? 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. But in Oriental, we are using the fourth power of 10. So that is a bit difference, but they are all going to be written in the form of what I'm saying is 10 to fourth level or 10 to third level, 10 to 4 or 10 to 4. I'm sorry, 10 to 3. So this is Occidental. We in Oriental expressions with these mathematical things. So that is big data nowadays. So common commercial AI field is, as I mentioned, that natural language processing. And currently, bots are also going to be very widely used, especially in e-commerce. Or nowadays, tellers are suffering quite much of emotional labor, so they are going to be switched off to the bots nowadays. So on the market, currently actually edge computing means we can use some devices. Those devices are having the processors, so they are processing inside of the devices that device is delivering that computing, which is called as an edge computing. Those market is also going to be skyscraping. 2017, it was called as 1.47 billion US dollars, but in a few years, they are going to be almost 7 billion US dollars. So it is also very skyscraping. And also nowadays we have a very often listened on the deep learning or deep neural networks. So actually, deep learning means multi-layered, so many layered artificial neural networks, or inside of that artificial neural networks to compensate that time or computational complexity squeezed down. So we designed so many types of convolutional neural networks. So they are going to be restructured in architecture. So we often use that hyper architecture, so they could be used. So sometimes maybe we are going to get confused with terms, which is called as what is the convolution. If you have already recollect what is the convolutions in mathematical form, that is not so hard anyway. In the later lectures or classes, I will deliver more mathematical form too. So open source movement is also very hot or interesting topics in AI. So in the commercial area, we are using the copyrights mostly, but in computer software engineering, open source movement has been well spread out because in computer science or in computer engineering, source code is very important, but designing the source code and coding the source code is very reluctant, or reciprocally or repeatedly having used or done by so many people. So sometimes if you combine them all together into one form, reuse, then that is very effective in performance. So that is open source movement. There was open source movement without assuring the right. So at the time we say the copyleft. Or sometimes some people are sharing their software to the market. Then there is without any payment. Then there was a shareware or a freeware. In the market, not in church, that is a very interesting paradigm. So sharing platform is much more free. So nowadays Linux or FreeBSD as a OS level that has been widely used, or Hadoop or MySQL that has been used in the database set, or OpenCV or PyTorch TensorFlows from the Google that has been also used for processing on computer vision, or Python language platforms for using many library that has been provided by the open source movement. In knowledge expression, as I mentioned, knowledge is also very important, from the data to produce the information and then knowledge, right? So there are so many different types of expressions of knowledge that we are going to, you can read, so those through the textbooks later. So I think our classes has been quite long already, so let's hold this classes here. I'm very grateful for your joining this class. For the first introductory classroom here. Under this coronavirus disease 19, COVID-19, you haven't suffered quite much of things. Currently, our campus is also not active, unlike an ordinary year. So please enjoy your life, even there are not so many crowded in the campus, because you can use your laboratory for yourself, for your research work. So you can be much more concentrated on work. So I wish you do your work very active. So welcome to my class, which is called AI for graduate school. Please enjoy this class and also be engaged in the work. Thank you very much for your joining here, and wish you actively working on this band, so we can share more ideas of online-based work. Thank you so much for your joining my class. Thank you. Have a good day.